Hello there friends and welcome. For today's BG3 guide we have all about the best party members including story companions and party synergy guide with really powerful party combinations. Now before getting started I just want to say that first, Baldur's Gate 3 is not the kind of game where you have to follow a very specific class and party combination to succeed, not at all. As a matter of fact, you can truly go with any combination you want and still achieve success even let's say on Tactician mode, so long as you know how to properly use all the tools you have available at your disposal. Second, because of how easy it is to respec your characters including story party members, don't feel restricted by certain companions I pick out here, because in the end you can make anyone into everything you want. The only difference will be race and their background, which in the grand scheme doesn't matter that much. What I have here is mostly because it's what I find works best, especially for new players on Tactician mode, as you will cover every single important build role with just your 3 party members, leaving the main character to be anything you want, for maximum customization. So with that out of the way, let's finally dive into our best party members guide. First we have SHADOWHEART as our cleric. Why SHADOWHEART, you might ask? Well, I'm pretty sure she is the most popular party member of the game so far. And of course also the main cleric. Cleric is an extremely solid class that will provide you with quite a lot of benefits. And the build I recommend for her is my nuclear tank guide. You can check to the side here or in the pinned comment down below, which can cover multiple grounds. First, tanking, because our SHADOWHEART will stack an amazing amount of armor class, higher than this if you wanna go for example with some bard multiclassing. I just don't think it's necessary because, trust me, higher than 30 is definitely enough in BG3, even on Tactician mode. Second, and most importantly to be fair as far as why cleric, it is the only class in the game that has full access to all of the nice divine spells. There's no such thing as Oracle or Favored Soul if you know them from previous editions of D&D and Pathfinder. If you want the maximum divine spells possible, you have to go with cleric, because the closest we have is Paladin, but Paladin has rather delayed spellcasting progression, it's not really the same. And well, the cleric spells are good for almost everything. Bless and Shield of Faith, for example, are amazing to increase your character's attack rolls and armor class. With Healing Word and later its upgrade, Mass Healing Word, one of the best ways of restoring your allies' hit points during battle, because they only cost a bonus action, so you can still cast another spell or attack in the same turn. Warding Bond to provide one of the ultimate defensive buffs for full physical resistance against all types of damage, that's 50% less taken from all sources on an ally of choice. You even get nice summons such as the undead ones from Animate Dead, and also Spiritual Weapon, quite the tanky and early summon to have. And of course the main ways of increasing your character's hit points, Aid and Hero's Feast. Lastly, one of the best lingering area of effect spells in the game, and through certain gear choices such as the Whispering Promise Ring, you can apply multiple buffs on all allies by merely healing them, something you can do even outside of battle for bless, higher hit points, and even damage resistance. And guess what, speaking about tanking, our cleric SHADOWHEART won't just be about high AC, because through certain gears such as Luminous Armor and the Luminous Gloves, whenever you apply radiant damage to enemies, very easy to do with the Spirit Guardian spell, all enemies hit will be heavily debuffed by around -10 to their attack rolls, even higher than that, up to -20 even, in just a single turn, thus ensuring all of your other allies, even if they don't have high AC, will remain fully safe, as any true tank should do. Lastly, as if all of that was not enough, clerics are the only class with access to domains, which can make them extremely versatile. For example, my SHADOWHEART went with Light to further enhance her tanking capabilities, by ensuring attacks miss even if enemies were about to hit you through the Warding Flare ability, even on allies as well when you upgrade it to improved Warding Flare, while also giving you powerful area of effect and single target unique spells such as Fireball and Scorching Ray, even Wall of Fire, that a cleric would not get otherwise. Even a powerful area of effect ability like Radiance of the Dawn to further enhance your Radiating Orb debuffs to enemy attack rolls. And of course you can also change your cleric into something else you want. For example, for higher spell damage, simply go with Tempest. To put it simply, our SHADOWHEART as a cleric or any other character you want will cover the tanking, debuffer, healer, and buffer roles all in one, plus decent area of effect damage. What's not to like, right? I absolutely love stacked characters. For the second spot we have GALE as our main arcane caster. After all, when it comes to divine spells, well, that's what cleric is for, but for arcane ones you really need a wizard or sorcerer. And just like our SHADOWHEART cleric, our arcane caster sorcerer wizard GALE will cover multiple grounds: summoner, buffer, debuffer, and most importantly, crowd controller with extreme DC on your spells to ensure you mass CC enemies easily. And last but not least, high amounts of spell damage, both single target and area of effect, something cleric is missing. I mean, you still get decent enough area of effect, but not as much as a wizard or sorcerer. At least not if you also want to tank with your cleric. Our GALE will cover that. And for a recommended build, you can simply go with my dragon sorcerer so that your GALE will combine the best of both worlds when it comes to magic. While GALE starts as a wizard, well, we still have one level into wizard, but most of our levels are sorcerer, and the reason is simple. Honestly, metamagic. Sorcerers are the only spellcaster with access to the metamagic abilities such as Quickened, Heightened Spell, Twin Spell, and so on. And this can really enhance the power of your spellcaster for everything. Twin Spell, for example, can be used so that you get to apply the strongest buff in the game, Haste, on 2 allies at the same time instead of just 1. Great for both tanking and extra actions for more damage. While Heightened Spell is the easiest way of ensuring all of your powerful crowd control effects will hit all enemies, including on Tactician, including high saving throw enemies no matter if they are bosses with magic resistance. While Quickened Spell can be great for even more damage by letting you cast another spell as a bonus action. Twin can be used for such purposes as well, especially when you combine it with cantrips that will fire twice per turn. What can I say, Wizard doesn't get anything like this at all. As a matter of fact, the main benefit of playing a Wizard is their access to summon spells. And well, that is exactly why we have a single level into Wizard with this build, because in BG3, unlike 3rd edition D&D or Pathfinder, with just a single level in Wizard, you get to scribe any wizard spell you want from a scroll into your spell book, and you'll then get to share the spell slots you have from Sorcerer for these wizard spells. For example, while we only have but a single level into Wizard, my GALE has access to the Wizard exclusive Conjure Elemental level 5 spell, that you can of course cast with a level 5 slot. For our third very important party member we have ASTARION as quite the powerful ranged character. As a matter of fact, this ASTARION, when built properly, will be able to easily snipe multiple enemies per turn in a very powerful alpha strike. All thanks to his hand crossbows, which can be dual wielded when it comes to ranged hits. Second, like any good rogue, by virtue of having very high dexterity, you'll also have amazing utility skills, especially the classic sleight of hand for lockpicking and trap disarming, plus stealth. And by the way, by virtue of ASTARION's background that other Respect party members cannot acquire, he'll even start with bonuses to these classic rogue skills. Therefore, our ASTARION will cover both the ranged DPS together with utility role. Because of how many attacks per turn you can get with this ASTARION, he'll definitely be the main damage dealer. Enemies will simply melt from all of your numerous ranged attacks, and you'll have 2 options when it comes to building him. Both I have covered already. First, the one I prefer is a Ranger Rogue Fighter split, as I do find it to be better at the earlier parts of the game. Second, my classic Turret Swords Bard build. Both do the same and are adept at achieving an amazing amount of ranged attacks per turn. The Swords Bard does get slightly more, but it's kinda overkill, if you know what I mean, considering once you get past 10 attacks per turn, it kinda doesn't matter if you have more or not. Unless you were soloing the game, I suppose, because you still have all of your other allies to help, but chances are the entire enemy pack will be alpha striked into submission by just having your ASTARION attack turn 1. Pick whatever you prefer. As I said, I prefer the Ranger split. Although the Bard one can also help with social skills because we have somewhat low charisma with the split. That is Persuasion, Intimidation, and Deception. Or you can just leave that to Gale, because he will have very high charisma. Or your main character, which we've yet to cover. Of course, as I said before, there's loads of other different combinations you can have as your party members. The main reason I have selected these three, SHADOWHEART as a cleric, Gale an arcane caster, and ASTARION as a ranged assassin, is very simple. With just these three party members, you'll be able to cover every single important role in battle. Tanking, debuffing, buffing, crowd control, and lastly, amazing DPS from our ranger ASTARION. And by the way, all of these characters also have amazing initiative scores to ensure you'll act first, as I personally hate having enemies go before you for very nice alpha strikes. And you might be wondering, what about melee? Honestly, it's not really needed because ranged characters are kinda better, all because of the ranged advantage, right? You don't have to move to where the enemies are. With high initiative and all of the attacks you have when dual wielding, you just destroy everything in one turn anyways. However, there is always the main character, so let's get into that now. As I've just mentioned, because we cover everything possible with our other party members, you can now go with anything you want as your main character. That's the main reason I did the party selection this way, for complete freedom when it comes to your MC. You can of course go with another cleric, another wizard, another rogue, ranger, bard, assassin. I already have builds for pretty much every playstyle possible you can check in my channel, including even throwing weapons. However, because I wanted to give you at least one choice, and since we were lacking melee support, although as I said it's not really necessary, I decided to go with our main character as a monk. First, because monks are absolutely busted in this game. They can achieve an enormous amount of melee damage with multiple attacks even as early as level 1, another reason I really like them. It is thankfully not one of those it only gets good later monk types, like for example in Baldur's Gate 2. Monks also are not lacking when it comes to the defenses department. While they won't have as high AC as for example a dedicated tank like our SHADOWHEART, it will be more than enough, especially with how easy it is to force disadvantage on enemy attacks, with your patient defense ability acquired as early as what, the 2nd level. And of course with your flurry of blows you'll just delete enemies on sight, just like our gunslinger ASTARION, except in your case it will be all with your pure unarmed melee fists. Lastly, there's a lot of monk exclusive gear that, well, you wouldn't make any use otherwise, unless you were playing as one, such as the gloves of soul catching, there's plenty of different gloves, and the boots of uninhibited Kushigo. And by the way, you can play as a full plate and shield monk in BG3 without any downsides whatsoever, you'll still get amazing AC and your most important monk abilities. Anyways, as I said before, while the options are close to Limitless, with this party combination you'll cover everything possible. Melee and ranged, tanking, debuffing, spells both arcane and divine, everything you want is right here. Well, alright friends, so this was it from my best party members and party synergy guide. If you found it useful as always, please remember to like, subscribe, and also consider becoming a channel member if you can. I truly appreciate your support. Thank you for watching and see you next time, friends.